Good evening. It is March 18th, 2022. Welcome to the San Marino Unified School District Board of Education Special Meeting. Here is your board president, Mrs. Namjack.
Thank you, Dr. Choi. We are here in person at 165 West Drive. You can also join us virtually via Zoom at http://www.smusd.us/media. All meetings of the board are open to the members of the public unless publicly noticed. A confidential closed session is allowed by law. Members of the public may address the board as outlined public comment section of the agenda. The audio of all meetings is recorded. A member of the public may be held liable for any slanderous or otherwise defamatory statements. In consideration of the board and members of the audience, please turn off, silence your cell phones while in the boardroom, including board members, please. The district encourages those with disabilities to participate fully in the public meeting process. If you need a disability-related modification or accommodation, including auxiliary aids or services to participate in the public meeting, contact the assistant to the superintendent at j.delatore@smusd.us or 626-299-7000 extension 1310 at least 48 hours before the scheduled board meeting so that we may make every reasonable effort to accommodate you. Documents provided to a majority of the board regarding an open session on the item may be made available to the public in the district office located at 1665 West Drive during normal business hours. Open session 5 o'clock. It is now 5:07, so we are starting the meeting. We will call it to order. Pledge of allegiance, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Mrs. Ryan, second.
Second.
Mr. Chang, roll call vote. Mrs. Ryan,
Aye.
Mrs. John, aye. Mr. Chang,
Aye.
Ms. Jack, aye. Public comments, procedural item. The board has adopted board policy 9323B to ensure the public's right to be heard in any matters pertaining to the district. Public comment is limited to only those items listed on the special meeting agenda. Persons who wish to provide public comment will have 3 options to submit to do so. Submit through an online form, request to speak during the meeting via Q&A and phone dial-in, request to speak during the meeting in person via the public comment card. Submit through the online form. The public may submit public comments for the open session on March 18th from 11 a.m. through 3:30 p.m. Comments received during this time will not be read during this meeting, but will be provided to the board. Please submit comments at https://bit.li.sboe031822. It is my understanding that we have had no public comments as of 3:30. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you, Dr. Choi. So request to speak during the meeting via Q&A and phone dial-in. During public comment, the meeting will pause for 1 minute, take requests to speak. The raise hand function is used to take requests during the public comment period. For online attendees, praise the raise hand icon to add yourself to the queue. For phone attendees, dial *9. The speaking order will be determined based on the order of requests received. Individual speakers will be unmuted and called to speak. Request to speak during the meeting in person via the public comment card. Please complete the public comment card and submit the completed card to the designated drop box with the assistant to the superintendent no later than when the agenda section discussion is called by the board president. Opportunities for public comment are offered prior to the discussion section for matters on the agenda. The board reserves the right to add a public comment period prior to any individual item on the agenda. 5 minutes may be allotted to each speaker and a maximum of 20 minutes to each subject matter. However, in the event there are more than 4 speakers on the same subject matter, the board president retains the discretion to adjust and limit the time allocated to each speaker to ensure that all who are wishing to speak will be heard within the 20-minute allotment. Communications from the audience concerning matters on the agenda may be heard at this time, but not responded to by the board. Shall we?
Thank you, President Jack. We are pausing for 1 minute to take requests to speak regarding matters on the agenda. If you'd like to make a request to speak, please press the raise hand icon or dial *9 or submit a public comment card. 30 seconds remaining. If you'd like to make a request to speak, please press the raise hand icon, dial *9, or submit a public comment card. President Check, we have 0 requests.
All right, do we have any in-person public comment card submission? Okay, all right, now we'll proceed. We are going to it's an information item, superintendent search discussion. Board members and search consultants from the COSCA group will prioritize and finalize the profile to be used to recruit candidates for the next superintendent.
Thank you.
Mr. Shapiro.
Very much. We're happy to be with you this evening. And just to summarize where we left off after our last meeting, we were about to begin the public input portion of our search, where we met with a number of different groups and individuals and also published the survey for people to respond to get input regarding the same 3 questions that the board responded to when we met: the strengths of the district, needs and challenges facing the district, and most important characteristics of the superintendent. We have a report for you, as well as a spreadsheet that will actually give you all of the comments from all the surveys. We wound up interviewing 35 different people, some in groups and some meeting individually. And we wound up receiving, I believe, 55 surveys. So the surveys in particular were extremely helpful, but so were our interviews with people. And in our report, we begin with what we call the recurring themes, or the summary that best synthesizes the items that we heard repeatedly from different members of the community that we think will help the board to end up with what we want to put into our profile. So I'd like to give you a couple of minutes to just quickly scan through the report that we've given you. I know it's a lot of information, but look at that report as well as the survey spreadsheet, and then we'll begin our discussion.
I just want to clarify again, Mr. Shapiro, right, that this is not an action item. This is just a presentation that you're making to us from an informational point of view to give us kind of a general overview of and a summary of what you
That's
heard
correct.
from the stakeholders.
And we will have a discussion as well, but there's no action item.
Right. So, and this is something that you will be preparing, right?
Correct.
As the consultants with your expertise.
Correct. And I will remind us that information we're sharing with you now is for board members' eyes only. This was intended only for board members.
So you will be collecting this later? Is that what you're saying? Okay, thank you.
It just stopped. Okay. So this is the hangout. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So right now, just review the hangout. Yeah.
You've got to.
I realize we're giving you a lot of information to look through in a short time. That's where I think that summary page or the recurring theme page will be helpful because it captures the items that we heard repeatedly.
Some of these are in bold, indicating.
The bolded ones are the ones that the groups or individuals indicated were their highest priorities. Just like when we met with the board on March 1st, we went through a process to determine the highest priorities.
I'm going to give the board another 2 minutes as we do need to move on.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Shapiro, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So you've got the report with the recurring themes or summary on the very second page after the introduction. The other document that is important to compare to is the original list that the board generated when we met on March 1st, and that's this 2-page document. Because our goal is to really see if we can merge the board's original ideas with what we heard from the community and make that the district profile that we will use for advertising. And I've done something that I hope might help. I have looked at both of those together, and I did an initial look at trying to merge the two thoughts. Trying to merge the lists into items that seem to combine both the board's original list and what we heard from the community. So I'm going to hand that to you now and see if we can look at that. And you tell me and Dr. Britz whether we effectively are capturing what the information is, both from the board's original meeting as well as what we heard from community members.
So this is kind of an overlay of the strengths of the district, the challenges facing the district, and characteristics of a new
Exactly.
superintendent.
The same three categories. It was the effort to synthesize what we heard from all of our community members, as well as what we heard from the board initially, to see if this fits. And when possible, I tried to combine items into one bullet where it fit, rather than to have an extraordinary number of bulleted items. So I'd ask you, under the strengths, which is the first item we're going to look at on the page in blue, to see if you think this is accurate for what we would like to put in our profile, or if there's anything you want to add or change. And we'll discuss it one section at a time. First, we'll discuss the strengths, then we'll take a look at the challenges, and finally, characteristics of the new superintendent. So let me ask you to comment on that first page, the strengths of the district. Are there items, that way we've listed them here, that you think are not accurate? Or items that you think are mostly accurate, but you might want to change the wording a bit?
For me, number 3, I would like to say parents and community members are committed to excellence
Okay,
and are engaged, supportive, and extremely generous.
very good. We can add committed to excellence. Good. Good. Any other items that you don't want to eliminate, but might want to add some wording or change some wording? And finally, on this page, are there any items that you want to add altogether that we have not included? Because we felt that this did merge both lists pretty well, but anything to add?
This is for, I guess my question is, who's the audience this is for? This is for
This
people who are
audience would
applying.
be potential candidates.
Okay.
This goes in our brochure that we will distribute widely to advertise the position.
One thing that's missing then in wide range of programs, well, I guess 2 things actually. So I'm not sure how do we include dual enrollment or college, access to college courses?
We certainly can.
I'm not sure how to, I know that an educator may or may not understand what dual enrollment is, so
Oh, they
I'm
will.
not sure.
They will.
Even if they're outside California?
Well, it's a pretty well-known program. So I think it's good to add dual enrollment.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's good to add that.
And then there's a big focus in a lot of this on the high school programs. But I think one of the strengths are that we have a very comprehensive K-12. Like our elementary schools are very strong and they really do build into the next levels at the middle school and then from the middle school to the high school. And I'm not sure how to, it's not just about alignment, but I'm not sure what I'm trying to say.
Well, how about if we say a comprehensive, rigorous K-12 instructional program? Would that capture it as a separate bullet? Good.
I think that should be bullet point number 4.
That's exactly where I was putting it. Good.
Okay.
Good. Anything else that we didn't include here that would be important to include? We don't want to have too many bullets, it becomes unwieldy. What do you think? Are we okay with this?
I think one of the things that, this is pretty good, but I think that we should include something that attracts the superintendent to understand that we are here in the business of preparing our students for the next level for college and career pathways, and that we have a intentional focus on preparing them. So all of this aside, why are we doing this? The why of partnership with Caltech, the why of advanced placements, the why of technical training, visual performing arts, athletics is in preparation for their journey into higher learning. So something
How about
to
if
that
we
effect.
add it to the previous item, tell me if this would work. A comprehensive, rigorous K-12 instructional program to prepare students for college and career.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's really essentially why people also come here, is because our students are prepared when they graduate. They are ready, they have options, and they do meet the requirements. I think for A to G and all the other things, like very selective schools, we're able to get students there.
So could we do this, Joel? And I don't know, obviously, right, it's with the board, but like comprehensive K-12 instructional, to prepare for college and career, right? Including, because to me, there are too many bullet points, including wide range of programs, right? Including wide range of programs such as advanced placement, career, technical education. You have programs, and visual and performing arts and athletics, as well as partnership with Caltech, blah, 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 blah.
Well, we can certainly include those together in one bullet if you
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
Okay. I would think the partnersks though might be a
Okay.
distinct one.
All right, then let's
But
take
we
that
can
up.
add the wide range of programs as part of this one, I think.
Okay, but only because, so you have wide range of programs, including, and then you have excellent programs. So one of the programs needs to be either deleted or the word changed.
The reason I put excellent is that we continually heard that word from people.
Oh, no,
but
no, no, I'm not against the word excellent. I'm talking about excellent. You're talking about programs.
How about we put it at the beginning, including excellent programs available to students?
Right, and how about including a wide range of excellent programs,
Mhm.
right? Available to students, including advanced placement, career technology, and visual and performing arts and athletics.
Good. So we will add that to the bullet that we just introduced. And I think that captures what we were just saying.
Mhm.
Would it also be helpful to maybe give a short reference to some statistics? Whatever the percentage is of the graduation, the A to G having been met, and college acceptance?
Let me explain that we have a lot of statistics in the introductory section
Okay.
that you will see. I should have maybe taken a step back and tell you what else goes in the brochure. This is the district profile. We begin with an introduction about the district so that people know a little bit about the district. And within that, we include a lot of data about student achievement in some other areas, because that's really where it fits, is in that introduction. So people will see that before they even see the profile.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. So I like the fact that we can put those together. Anything else you'd want to add or change on this first section?
We just discussed about the first page, it's strengths of San Marino Unified School District, right? So we put some excellent. Yeah, I think we are excellent, but I'm not sure. Maybe a portion of a parent, they think we are not enough excellent. So we need to hire most excellent. So, and also if we are excellent, maybe there's no need to recruit excellent. So-
Well, of course, this is highlights the strengths. We're not, this is not the area in which we would talk about need to improve.
Yeah,
This is strengths, but that might be something that we want to address in the next section.
Yeah.
If we feel that there's an area of improvement.
I think it might be helpful to actually to emphasize the excellence, because what it's doing is it's setting the standard that we meet these high standards and we're going to expect that from you.
Yeah.
And so highlighting that we're achieving that is also a way of indicating, and we expect to have that.
And
as
again,
well.
I think you'll see in the introduction portion, we say that at the very, very beginning, that this is a district noted for its excellence and noted for the outstanding programs and performance. So we're not minimizing that in any way. We kind of hit them with it right out of the gate, if you will.
Right, so, right. It's an excellent district with outstanding students and exceptional programs.
yeah, I'm glad we have this discussion before we finalize.
Yeah.
Because I just use the other angle. But as long as five school board member have a consensus,
Right.
I think that's good, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you'll see in the introduction that that is the very first thing we say, the excellent district. Now, let's look at the second section, and you'll note that we deliberately have fewer bullets. Why? Because we're emphasizing strengths and we're emphasizing what we're looking for in a new superintendent. But if we put too many of the needs or challenges, that could be off-putting. So I've only put 5 in here based on all the input that we received that seemed to hit on the same topics. And the question is, do you want to make any changes in these, or do you want to add anything? These are the needs or challenges facing the district.
You know, for the finance, we put a need to rely on the local funding to augment the insufficient state funding. Yeah, this is excellent statement, but I'm just worried about if you're not in the San Marino, this is smaller school district, they don't really understand, because then it didn't mean that you also need to help campaign for a parcel tax in the future. So I would like to, if one more sentence can be more concrete to show the, in the future, this is the assignment.
Is there a way that people would prefer to word that?
I prefer the one that we had, the way we said it, lack of sufficient state funding requires dependence on local funding sources.
Okay, well, that is very clear. Lack of sufficient state funding requires dependence on local funding sources. Yeah.
For me, bullet point number 4, need to hire and retain the very best teachers and administrators. I think we have some of the very best, so I would rather say need to continue to hire.
Okay. That makes sense. Good.
And I understand what you're trying to say, right? We're not trying to dissuade anyone from coming. We want to apprise them of certain issues we have, but not to inundate them to the point where I'm not coming here.
Exactly. But we also want to be honest, where
Yes.
there are needs to be clear,
Sure.
but not to overstate those.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why we limited the number of bullets on this one.
Right. And I think these are the major ones, right? I guess the issue is just more the minor ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
they all have, oh, I'm sorry, they all have, because they all have foundations.
Yeah, I mean, what San Marino does in terms of raising local funds is not unique because some of the local districts do that. But in San Marino, that's a particular way that money has to be raised. It's just the way things are.
And I apologize for asking you to speak to the
No, that's
mic, but
okay.
one of the criticisms we got were people said they couldn't hear because you weren't talking into the mic, so they didn't know what you were saying. So, okay, so if you would like, if you could. go
Janet,
up to-
anytime, just jump up and use the
I
mic.
will,
Okay.
I will.
Anything that you'd want to add then, or are those 5 bullets under needs and challenges sufficient? We okay with that then? Okay. Then this next one would be our way of merging both the board's input and the public input under characteristics of the new superintendent. So please take a look at those and see if there's anything you want to add or change.
For the number 3, academic leader with extensive leadership experience. Well, for my last 21 year here, so we recruit the new superintendent. So actually, each one is the new superintendent, first time the superintendent. But I know some of community people may concern and they fear the once have a search firm process, and then we can get extensive experience. So mean maybe already 5 year or 10 year serve as a superintendent. But for my experience, I deal with the last search. Look like you may not find the
Well,
10-year experience or 5 years.
When we talk about experience here, we didn't attach a number, but when we get the application packets, that's one of the things we measure in order to make recommendations and share with you the people who have the most leadership experience. But to be honest with you, somebody may excel with 5 years of experience over somebody else who has 10 years. It just depends on what they've accomplished. So we don't put an actual number on it. But chances are, if somebody's only been in a leadership position for a year or two, we would consider that to be insufficient. So we didn't feel it was appropriate to put an absolute number here, but we'll share our recommendations with you on how much we think is enough.
So when you say the leadership experience, mean including assistant superintendent?
Exactly.
and
Doesn't have to be
not
superintendent.
limit, have to be the superintendent
Right.
already.
Leadership is meant to include various positions of leadership, but we would say superintendent and assistant superintendent are the ones we're looking at in particular.
This is just all like nitpicky, but on number 3, an academic leader with extensive leadership experience and strong background in curriculum and instruction. So then it should be as well as financial expertise.
I was just
right?
thinking the
Too
same
many
thing.
ands.
Yes, as well as. Yes.
And then bullet point number 5, it says will understand the community with be active and visible.
It's a mistake. Should be will be active. Thank you. Will be active.
Well, shouldn't it be will understand the community? You have 2 wills then, anyway, all right. Wouldn't it be will understand the community, be active and visible in the community and its schools?
Sure. That's fine.
Or just get rid of the comma and the with and put the word and.
Yeah,
Will understand the community and be active and visible in the community and its
so
schools.
we have many ands now, right?
And
We have
another
3
and.
ands.
We could do it with and, or we could do it with the comma and just be, either way you like it.
I like the and.
I think either one works.
Okay, whatever you guys think.
Okay.
With the input from the stakeholder groups, it states on this subject that the superintendent has experience as a teacher? That was a recurring theme that came up.
We didn't put that in specifically, but when we said an academic leader with strong background in curriculum and instruction, that's where we felt that includes being, having experience as a teacher.
But it did come up repeatedly that there was a stated need.
We heard that from a few groups.
To be a
That
teacher.
term didn't come up as frequently as some of the others, but we did hear experience as a teacher. So we could put that in, but we felt strong background in curriculum and instruction certainly would imply and include experience as a teacher. That's up to you.
I think it would be good to include that. And fit that language in, that there's a reference specifically to having had hands-on teaching experience in a classroom.
Okay,
How about an academic leader with classroom experience, with extensive leadership experience in classroom or teaching, we can say, right? Teaching
And
teaching
teach-
expertise, something like that.
well, and teaching experience, then
Yeah.
Teaching experience, yeah.
It's just so many duplicative words.
and then maybe to eliminate that last and, because don't want too many ands, we can have a semicolon and then just say strong background in curriculum instruction as well as financial expertise. So we don't continue to say and.
Does
And extensive educational leadership too.
Well, but I want to make sure we have the teaching, so I don't, if you want to.
Well, tell me if this hits it or if you want to make changes. An academic leader with extensive leadership experience and teaching experience, semicolon, strong background in curriculum and instruction, as well as financial expertise.
Okay, sounds good.
I think that would be good, but you could probably streamline just a little. Instead of saying teaching experience and leadership experience, just say leadership and teaching.
Yeah, I
experience.
agree.
Good.
should financial expertise have its own bullet?
Well, we could, when we met with the board, it was included in that same item. So I included it in the same item. But if we want financial expertise as a separate bullet, we can do that.
Well, I feel like that particular bullet point became really fixated on academic and classroom, and now financial expertise just kind of feels out of
An
place.
afterthought.
Yeah, it doesn't. I
Well,
don't-
why don't we do that? Why don't we make it a separate bullet? Does that sound okay?
Separate bullet point for what, I'm sorry?
Financial expertise, so that's as a standalone bullet rather than being merged into the other one. I agree.
I guess the question is that as strong of a need as any of the other bullet points, or is it just sort of subsumed as?
I think, given the critical needs are declining enrollment, lack of sufficient, I mean, it's kind of two of our needs and challenges, three, have to do with finances.
We heard it as something very important.
Yeah.
It didn't mean they had to be the person in charge of the budget, like the CBO, but they had to have financial expertise to know how to help manage a budget and where the money should be best spent. So I would agree that I think it stands alone rather than being added to that other item.
How about financial expertise and experience then?
Good. An item that I did not include here and that Jan and I were discussing that did come up a number of times was simply a strong, confident leader. And we didn't include that there, but perhaps you want that added. The notion
I
of
would
being
like that.
confident and being a strong leader seemed to be important to a number of people. Should we add that?
Are we starting to move into the realm
Yeah, I
of
agree.
personality traits at that point?
Well, in some respects, we're including both professional experience and personality traits because we're appealing, saying we need you to be able to be a strong and confident leader. So I don't think there's any reason we can't include that if you think it's important. We heard it over and over. So that's why I'm bringing it up.
Is strong and, this is going to sound strange, but does strong and confident have any implicit bias regarding a male?
I would hope not.
Okay.
Some of the strongest, most confident leaders we've placed have been women. I wouldn't think so.
You know, because you have such an active community and you do have some challenges there, you really want what we heard as far as confident, that somebody can really be able to speak up, to community people and to our leaders in the community, for what's right for the school. And a lot of times, not a lot of times, but you do have sometimes some superintendents that that's hard for them to do, but we want somebody that really, and I don't see it, I can talk as a woman. Certainly in the school district I was, wasn't for a male thing. You, as a woman, really wants to come across too confident. They want to be able to talk to the board like I am right now. They want to be able to talk to the city council members, and meet with your mayor of the city and be able to say, well, with the school district, we need, or we have this, whatever. So that's what that confidence was, that they can stand up and, really know what they already know what the district needs, but be able to talk to people in the community, to our leaders in the community, and people will respect them for that confidence.
I think maybe I have more of a problem with the word strong. It almost implies a little bit, I guess for me, it connotes kind of bullying or.
Well, I would want to be considered strong.
Well,
I mean,
if we just said a confident leader, I think that gets the point across too.
Yeah.
It might just be me.
Well, what does we're trying to include as many things as we
Right.
can on this
Right.
list, right? But so I'm trying not to limit anyone who would like to include that, in their I get your point where now we're kind of going into more of a subjective description thing, because we're talking about a communicator or, someone who listens. So that may be, and I'm assuming that anybody we get we would want to find a strong and confident leader, I would hope, but so I would like to be as inclusionary as possible, but I also understand what you're trying to say. So what does the rest of the board think in terms of including a strong, confident leader, or a confident leader, or not having it at all? Mr. Kalaki?
I think if we put the words strong, confident in front of the second bullet point to make it a strong, confident, collaborative leadership style, you're describing the type of leader that we're looking for. We're looking for a leader that is strong, is able to lead the organization, has the confidence, and also works collaboratively. And I think that's important because sometimes, although I do think it's important to have a strong and confident leader, you also want a strong, confident leader that works collaboratively. You don't want to have an impression that there is a dictator telling various groups in the organization how it will be without any collaboration. So I do think it's important to have a strong leader. And I think it's important to state that. But I think if you blend it in with the collaborative leadership style, it would be good.
I think if we said a strong, confident, and the word strong, you have to decide if you want to leave it in, a strong, confident leader with a collaborative leadership style, able to build an effective team, I think combines all of those.
I think it'd be good.
Well, I don't know if we need strong at that point. I like the idea of combining it, but can we lose strong and still?
I
just
can- whatever
confident,
you please.
collaborative?
Okay, how about a confident leader with a collaborative leadership style? How's that?
One of the things that we heard repeatedly, and we don't have to put it in here, but it's good to share it with you, is that this is a demanding community. And you can easily, if you're not strong, can easily be swayed by one person's or one group's opinion and change your mind all the time. So you have to have some strength of your principles. And you have to know what you stand for and be willing to stand for that. So that is where that term strong kept coming up, because
Okay.
people could easily be swayed by different opinions.
Right.
So
Mr. Clackey, you've made your statement. Mr. Chang, how would you like it to read? A strong and confident, or just a confident?
I think the strong is probably, for no matter what, finally, I think the superintendent still had to use his or her judgment and make a decision.
Yeah.
Is that this considered strong or what, or confident?
Okay, would you like strong and confident, or just confident?
I think the strong, I'm okay as strong.
Okay.
I'm hearing everybody's input and I like that we're having this discussion, but I don't want us to get into the weeds of it all. This brochure that you are proposing needs to be clear, transparent, but also we need to really shore up or improve in terms of the little, ands, buts and all of that. We need to clean that up because really when this is a sales, like how can we get the best candidates to come to us? So I like the fact that we're discussing clear, confident, collaborative and all of that. But in the end, we want this great communicator, this action oriented as well as a collaborative, because you can't prescribe just one thing and drill it down. You have to really be robust in what you're saying, because the depth of what you're looking for, the candidate is not just superficial, like I'm very strong, or I'm very confident. That doesn't give you the problem solver. It doesn't give you the person who knows, okay, so after I listen and I'm being very transparent, what's my next step? What are my actionable items? And so those things need to kind of be clearer, because, we all listen, right? We're all listening, and we're all transparent. This is what but then to build in that the stakeholder engagement in working together, that's even at a next level. So I don't want our board to get caught up in just the wording, but really get the best description to get the best candidate. And so
one of the
that's
things
what
you're
I'd
going to
like
be looking at when you interview candidates, and you won't necessarily put that word in big capital letters, you're going to be saying, does this person have the inner strength to do this job? Do they have the ability to follow through on stated goals and principles and not easily be swayed and overturned? So I think strength as a leadership characteristic, whether we put it in here or not, you'll be looking for that. I
Okay.
guarantee you.
So for me, I think that, I'll go with a strong, confident, leader with a collaborative leadership style.
Okay. Anything else here you'd want to change or add to,
For the last point, we'll make a long-term commitment to the district. Do you think when you come out with the flyer and to show the candidate, so is that they will ask you how long is a long term?
well, we don't specify number of years because we don't like to limit their thinking. If we say at least 5 years, we don't want them to think only 5 years. But what I would hope we hear from people is when they would be considering this job, it's their intent to stay here. And we're not going to put a limit. So long-term, I think, doesn't put a limit on it. If we said at least this many years, I don't know that that would be what you want. So I think you want somebody who says, I want to be here as long as I can. That's my sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're raising a good point that you want a candidate whose discussion would sort of give you an indication of how many long years they plan to be here. But if we say 5 years and offer the person a 3-year contract, they're going to say, I thought you wanted 5. Why am I getting 3? So it's sort of a
actually
way,
for
but I
me,
understand.
For me, I serve as a school board member longer than I have a with a real the experience. I worry about this may not be accomplishment. Yeah, for the smaller school district. Yeah, so
it's a challenge.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a big
you've had this
challenge,
challenge.
yeah.
But nevertheless, we're looking for people who are coming in here with the intent to stay. We're not looking for people who are coming in here thinking, I want to be here 2-3 years and move on. That won't serve the district well. So I believe you've expressed that, and other people have expressed that as well. Anything more you want to add to this? I think we probably have a sufficient number of bullets, so I wasn't thinking we needed to add, but if we've left anything important out, let me know.
This is all just a brochure
Yes,
that, right? It's
that's right.
not set in stone. We're not going to.
Exactly. In fact, when we do our recruitment and when we look at candidates' files, we do keep this in mind. To what extent do the candidates demonstrate these qualities? So this helps us as we evaluate candidates. And when you evaluate the candidates, I think it'll be helpful for you to say, to what extent do they meet these criteria? So it becomes a brochure, but it also helps us as we look at candidates. So here's our next step. We have the brochure in a draft form without the profile. We will insert the profile and we will send it to you, not for approval purposes, just to review. But if you have any comments, let us know. But then we want to be ready to get this posted and advertised by Tuesday of next week. Because that's been in our original timeline. And we want to hold to that timeline and have the recruitment period go until April 26th, which is what we've stated. So right now we're on track with having this ready to go, and with your input here, I think we will have a brochure that accurately reflects the district and what you're looking for.
And the date for next Tuesday, I'm sorry, the date for next Tuesday is what date?
Next Tuesday is the 22nd, 22nd,
Okay,
which was
sorry.
what we originally said we'd have it ready. We could actually have it
Next
ready
meeting?
by Monday, but we thought we'd let you have a look at it first
Monday.
and then post it on.
I was just gonna ask if I could just go back quickly to
Thank
point number 4 on the characteristics of the superintendent.
Yes,
If we could add the word all in front of students, it will focus on
that
all
we'll focus on
students.
all students first.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Could you remind me again where this will be posted?
Well, we posted in EdJoin, which if you're familiar with EdJoin is where everybody sees all of the available positions. And we posted on EdCal as well. We posted on our website, and we will actually send this to every school district in the state. We send it directly to superintendents and assistant superintendents. And we send it to the county offices as well, because often those people know who good candidates are. And we've had a lot of good results from sending it to districts directly and also to the county offices.
In terms of, the timeline, so till April 26th, and then when do we have to schedule another meeting for the board, I'm saying, and
Let me-
also
let me
for
refer
the
to
actual
that.
interview?
Good. Let me refer to
Times.
that right now. We will be giving you all the application materials to be able to review as early as April 27th. However, actually, that's pretty tricky. I believe April 27th is a Saturday, and we're going to have them here in the district office. So it would be the Monday.
27th isn't a Saturday.
It's a Sunday, right?
What's the day? of
The
the week?
30th is a Saturday.
Let me double check.
April.
Okay, then it'll be here April 27th. And and let me be clear on how you'll review them, because just as we're going to be collecting this information today.
What
in
was
the-
the date again? I'm sorry.
April 27th.
27th?
Yeah. And we will give them to Jennifer to keep in a secure location, and she'll arrange with you to come in and review all of the files. But they must stay here in the district office for the purpose of security and confidentiality. And the same thing will be true with the videos. As you recall, you requested that we get a brief video, and we have a couple of questions in the application that we're asking people to address via a video. And we will give the video to Jennifer to have ready to look for you to look at when you come in, because we obviously can't have any of this material outside of the district office. You understand that? And then we will be meeting again on May 2nd at 5 p.m. That's closed session. That's when we will determine together who you wish to interview. And we'll also determine the interview questions, so that we'll be ready to go for our interviews on Friday, May 6th, with the follow-up on the final interview on Saturday, May 7th.
And on May 6th, I'm sorry, what time are we?
We're
Yes.
looking at during the day. We had said we would do that starting as early as feasible during the day.
Okay, so that would be, so let's set some time. So first with May 2nd, the closed session, what time, how long do you expect that to
Well,
take?
we had that listed at 5 o'clock. That's what we
Okay,
discussed
how
the
long
last
do you
time.
think it will take?
I would anticipate that being about 2 hours.
Okay, so 5. Okay, for May 2nd, then Friday, May 6th.
Now that,
What?
how early we start will be will be dependent on how many candidates you wish to interview, but I think we should be prepared as early as 9 a.m.
Okay,
On Friday, May 6th,
Mhm.
9 a.m. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
And that's the interview round one.
Because we're doing actual interviews, right?
Yes.
Correct.
How long do you think each interview will be
We
lasting?
schedule for an hour and with a break for lunch, but we schedule, actually, we have it listed for 55 minutes for each interview with 5 minutes in between. So we figure roughly an hour.
And have we determined a location?
yes,
That, I believe that's
it
going to
won't be
be
here.
Lacey Park, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll be working on that, correct?
President Jack, I don't have that day off yet, so I can't commit that I will be here at 9 a.m. I'm just letting you know.
All right. Do you think it's possible that we could?
I'm gonna try.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Thank you. So that date may have to be, or time may have to be flexible. Also depend, right, on May 2nd, we'll know how many candidates we're interviewing.
Correct. I'll be honest with you, we typically try to get 5 or 6 people that you would select to interview. It could be more, it could be fewer, but that's the average.
But we're also doing the same type of meeting again the next day on the 7th. Is that
Well,
correct?
that will be a little different. When you do the final interview, it will be a little bit more open-ended and we might schedule a longer period for each candidate.
Oh,
because
okay,
you-
so we would see the same.
You won't see all of
Portion
them.
of the
You
same
will have, you will
candidates.
have narrowed down
Gotcha.
the people that you want to consider as finalists.
So typically, in my experience, it's been 2 or 3.
Right.
It's usually 2, but
On the
you
second
know,
day.
on the second day, because those are the finalists.
We actually urge you to try to get it down to 2, but it
Right,
depends. It
right.
depends on what you think.
So what time?
I don't know that we need to decide that now, but I think if we want to say 9 o'clock again, I think that's safe.
Because usually the second round of interviews, I mean, the finalists were an hour and a half almost,
That's
right?
what we
2
would,
hours.
that's what we would assume.
And do we have an indication of when we would likely stop on the 6th? I mean, if we're
Again, it
starting
will
at 9
depend on
a.m.
how many you choose to interview.
Okay.
That's, I can't be certain about that. The goal would be to finish by late afternoon.
So it depends. So if we have 6 candidates, it'd be an hour, 10 minutes in between. So it ends up being like 4 o'clock. If we have more, then it'll be even.
And then we need a little time after we complete the interviews for you to decide who you wish to bring back for final. All right, any other questions regarding the timeline? I really appreciate your input on this. This gets us ready to go to finish the brochure and have our recruitment begin by Tuesday.
Okay, so when you provide us all the applicable applications for us to view, right, in a secured location, starting April 27th, does that include the brief videos?
Yes, we'll have the videos ready to be loaded on a computer for you to look at
Okay,
at the same
and
time.
would those be available only to us on on April 27th?
Through May 1st.
Oh, through May 1st?
Actually, through May 2nd, because we're going to meet in the evening on May 2nd, so you could look at it all day on May 2nd. I think excluding the weekends, because
Right,
it's got to be here when the district office is open,
okay,
but you'd have about 5 days.
all right, so May 2nd until, why don't we say 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
And I mean, if for some reason they came up as an issue of discussion on the 6th or the 7th, we would have access to them then as well, right?
Right, we can make sure that you see them then as well, but we don't want that to be your first time.
You'll have
Yeah.
so the interview, people that we're interviewing on the 2nd will have on the 6th, we'll have a binder, and then we'll have another binder
Right.
for the 7th. So
We will give you their materials to look at again on the day of the interviews, so you'll have them with you. Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, as we said earlier, in the interest again of confidentiality, I am going to collect the materials. and hand it out. So take that. Thank you. And Jan and I'll work together.
You want to go?
I'll work together.
I never got to the last page.
Just timelines of what happened.
He said when all the surveys, we had 53 surveys, question 1, question 2, question 3.
I see.
We kind of highlighted that.
No, already contacted.
Okay, all right, fantastic. Are there any particular? I will have this discussion after I close the meeting. Right, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.